Hello YouTube, this is Asasi5 and I got another book review for you today. This is Why Suffering? Finding Meaning and Comfort When Life Doesn't Make Sense, unabridged. And this is an audiobook and it's read by the authors Ravi Zacharias and Vince Vitale. And I can't tell you how awesome it is to have a book narrated by the author in an audiobook form. I love it. It just speaks so much more to me if the author is reading it as opposed to someone who's paid to read it. Um, but someone who actually wrote the words. I love that. This book explores the problem of evil and suffering, mostly from the perspective of Christianity. Ravi Zacharias and I'm assuming Vince Vitale are Christian apologetists. I know a little bit about Ravi. I'm not so familiar with Vince Vitale, but they talk about the problem of evil and suffering and why God would allow certain things to happen. And they don't only talk about this from the Christian point of view, but they also talk about it from the Buddhist point of view, the atheist point of view, the pantheist point of view, the Muslim point of view. They talk about karma. They talk about how they perceive evil and suffering and what they have to bring to the table. And obviously, they're going to focus a lot more on Christianity because that's who they are. But they don't just give two or three um, cases from the Christian worldview. They talk about many angles and explanations from the Christian point of view. So it's not just giving a couple of reasons or a couple of explanations. They're giving a multitude of explanations and insight. And that's kind of why I got this book, not because of the current situation we're in, but I suffer from depression and I wanted to get some perspective on it from some very educated people. I'm a fan of Ravi Zacharias, so and I saw that he was one of the co-authors, and I was like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to buy this book. It also helped that I got an iTunes gift card for my birthday, so that kind of inspired me to go book shopping. And yeah, Ravi has also suffered from depression. I don't think he's clinically depressed, or I don't think he suffers from chronic clinical depression, but he did have a rough part in his life. And obviously, Vince Vitale, uh, growing up in the human condition, has also suffered some in his life. And I will say this Ravi Zacharias is a very educated person, and those times where he kind of goes on Oxford Super Saiyan professor mode, and he uses words that are a little bit more complex than what the lay people are used to listening to. But don't worry about it. If you listen to the context of the um, paragraphs and the sentences, you will understand what he's talking about and you'll be able to grasp it. Vince Vitale, on the other hand, is much more relatable in his speech, and I really appreciated that from him. Is that when he talked, he was almost. And don't get me wrong, he's very educated himself as well. But to me, he was more relatable in how he spoke in this book, or how he wrote. This is a book he wrote it down and he narrated it. This is about a what you call it, a um, I just got a comment on YouTube. This book is about a 7 hour and 3 minute book, if I remember correctly. So it's not a short book, but it's not a huge, immensely intimidating book. And I listen to it while weed eating, mowing. Not doing so much mowing these days, but weed eating, mowing, driving around, and I truly enjoyed the book. But I think that's about all I can say about this book without actually narrating it myself, which I don't want to do. Um, so, anyways, I want to talk about some of our blessings in the situation that we're in. Oh, let me bring something up. Why suffering? This is a concept that Vince Vitale brought up, and he said that some people wish they can wish away suffering in the world and still be them, but they don't realize that by wishing to be in a suffering-free world, they might be wishing themselves out of existence. And what he means by this is that Some good things come from negative situations. And I'm going to use this example. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I thought of this example and I thought it kind of put things in perspective. Um, because of the situation we're in, we're stuck in our homes. We can't go out and shop like we want to. We can't go out and go to theme parks or parks in general. We can't just go to restaurants and eat, sit down and eat, theme parks, so on and so forth. We are really stuck in our homes right now, unless you have an essential job. Uh, so that is not cool for a lot of people. They're getting stir crazy, they're getting cabin fever. But think about this. Couples who are forced to stay in a house together for an extended amount of time might indulge in some activities that would result in new people being brought into this world 9 months later. And because of this situation we're in with coronavirus or COVID 19, whatever you want to call it, uh, because of the situation they're in, those people in the future might not exist. Um, so it's an interesting topic concept to think about. So yeah, sometimes good things do come from suffering. Um, but I'm not saying that completely is a satisfactory answer, but it is a concept to think about. Now, I want to talk about our blessings. First off, Jesus died for our sins and he rose from the grave. Um, it's very important that he rose from the grave. That is the proof he was who he said he was. But I want to talk about some other blessings that you might not think about. Um, First off, we have TV, we have streaming services, we have DVDs, Blu-ray, we have some of us might even have VHSs. Not only that, we have the internet, which kind of relates to um, streaming, but we can go on YouTube and I can check on my YouTube community. I can go on Facebook and check on my Facebook community. Snapchat. I have reconnected with a few of my friends um, just because we're stuck, and I'm like, I wonder how they're doing. I'm gonna message them. I'm gonna see how they're doing. And you know what? I might not have anything interesting to say, but I know and they know that we care enough about each other to have a simple conversation during this situation that we're in. So, anyways, the fact that we can still communicate and entertain ourselves is a very real blessing. And keep in mind, especially if you have an iPhone, I don't know if Android has um, an equivalent, but we can FaceTime with our family and friends. I can FaceTime my dad and see his face and talk to him, uh, even though we're not in the same room. So those of us who are separated by distance, we can actually talk and see people, or to see people and talk to them in real time. Just think how miserable it would be if we didn't have TV, movies, internet, social media. It would be a rough situation for a lot of us. And especially if we're just left with the game of Monopoly, some families would probably self-destruct, to be honest. Um, that's a joke at Monopoly. But anyways, I feel that although things are not going how I would ideally want them to go, I'm very happy for the blessings that I do have and for um, the things that I do have. Try not to focus on what I don't have, but focus on what I do have. So I want to thank all of you for watching my review. I can't remember if I said this because I filmed this video several times because I got distracted. But this is about a 7 hour and 3 minute book, and that's if you're really booking it. And the pun was intended. That's why I wanted to make sure I said it. But so it's not an extremely long book. It's not a short book, but it's a decent book that should last you a decent amount of time. And I was extremely pleased with it. And I don't have the price of it in audiobook form because once I bought it on iTunes, it wouldn't allow me to see the price because it just has the cloud download thing. Um, but anyways, that's it. That's my review. I'm a Satsu 5, and I'm out.